right, I think it's 6 o'clock, so why don't we get started? We'll stand and say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank everybody for being here tonight. Before we get started, I'm wondering if somebody would volunteer to be a secretary tonight.
I did so well last time, I would love to.
Okay, all right. Becky has volunteered to be our secretary. Karen is unable to be here tonight, so. Next is to amend and/or accept tonight's agenda. Anybody have anything they need to add?
Make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion support for tonight's agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. This time is time for public comment. Public comment is limited to 2 minutes per person. Okay, I don't think we're going to have public comment tonight, so let's move on to our routine matters. We need to approve our June minutes, budget hearing minutes, June regular minutes, and our June closed session minutes. Accept our June minutes.
So moved. Support.
Motion support for all the minutes from June. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consider general fund invoices for payment. Man.
I would like to pay checks, or make a motion to pay check 77506 through 77641 from the general fund for $286,135.29. And from food services, check 77512 through 77620 for $22,359.21.
Ordered.
All right, we have motion support for our invoices. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Reports and communications. Myself, I don't really have a lot other than projects are moving along. Scott will probably talk a little bit more about them. Other than that, I don't have much. Your turn, Scott.
All right. Yeah, so track, we're still kind of at a standstill, waiting for paving. We're hoping paving will begin next Monday, July 15th. For the track, we're hoping that they come and start the final grade here this week. Waiting on a reply to an email for that, just to get timelines, but track is moving along steadily. We have the irrigation in, just waiting on the pavement to finish the rest of the irrigation. And once the pavement's in, then the fencing will go in, and then they can come and rubber and stripe the track. So, still moving along. I think we're in the timeline. I say I think, because that seems to can change daily depending on weather. But we're moving along with that. Middle school gym, as you guys are aware, the board is aware that We did have some moisture concerns with the cement slab or pad that's under there. We're going to take some mitigation measures with putting some sealant on there. The sealant has a 10-year warranty for that. But also the floor was uneven, so we have to do some mitigation for that. We started grinding on the floor today. And what had happened is, with the mastic and how they put the floor on in the past, is they would use that as the leveling agent. So they use that to level it, and when that's removed, your floor is not level. So they started grinding today, and then they'll bring in some leveling compound and level it. And then seal it, and then they're also putting in another moisture measure, kind of like a little, for lack of better terms, I'm sorry, a spacer in there between the floor and the pad, which should help with that.
Was the source of the moisture identified, or?
No, we can just guess what happened in the 50s. What they're assuming is that they didn't put a vapor barrier down when they did the concrete, which was pretty common practice then. They see it quite regularly with floors and slabs that old. He said even now that when they pour some floors or some slabs, I guess, the one school district was a new gym. They waited 3 months for it, for the humidity and the moisture and the cement to dissipate, and it didn't. So they had to put the sealer on it as well. He said that currently now they some places opt for I can't think of the right word. They put a product in the concrete that helps it dry quickly. That seems
Probably
Silver?
some sort of chloride or something, yeah.
and it's something that seems to be, some schools are opting for that. So, but it could be a little off schedule for the middle school gym with the mitigation efforts. Hoping that the flooring gets delivered this week or early next week, and they can start on that. They figured they would be grinding for 2 to 3 days on it. And really where they're grinding is where the joints are. Weight room is progressing. They're going to pour the floor in the new weight room area Wednesday. So if you come in the lobby area, they're using the pump truck. The hose will be going through the lobby area. So just be mindful where you're walking. But that's progressing as well. Our offices are progressing. We have the fire marshals coming tomorrow. The state fire marshal, just to kind of look over them. We're supposed to contact them when they're about 50% done. We're probably a little further along than that in the high school. But he'll be coming tomorrow. So projects are going really quickly. Our custodians and maintenance staff are working very hard. I think John has the entire elementary hallway painted into our new paint scheme, which is really brightening it up and makes it look nicer. We're hoping that we can continue on into the central hallway there and the middle school hallway. With that, so things are progressing. One thing I did want to talk to you about was the school budget. As you guys saw, it was kind of a late night passing of our school budget. It does not look kindly to schools. We still don't know really what the effects are going to be because there's supposed to be a Senate bill that's also passed in conjunction with it, but they recessed before that passed. So they won't be back to the end of July. We did not get a per pupil increase that we have in the last 10 years that we were kind of hoping for. They also cut our 31 AA monies considerably. Correct me if I'm wrong, Liz, $200 a student?
It was, 214 is what we were getting, and now we're getting $17.
A student, when you have, based on 1,000 kids, it's quite a bit. And that's what we pay our school safety officer, our social workers, because that's school safety and mental health money. But there's no need to panic or be concerned yet. We're hoping that they come back from session or come back from vacation into session and kind of right some of these things. It was a complete 180 that happened like within 36 hours.
Yeah.
Of
I couldn't believe the governor dropped that. I mean, even at the governor's level, it was
That was crazy.
Yeah. I've not been doing this terribly long, but long enough to know that I have not seen anything like this before. So, but we're gonna maintain what we're doing for kids and staff, and just continue to watch and observe it, and hopefully we'll have some more answers August and early September.
So Liz, maybe you could ask this, I mean, there was a big discussion about the retirement money, and most of the organization were looking for a 7% drop. I think it ended up like maybe 5% or something like that.
Yeah, about 5.74.
Yeah, any feel for how that balances out?
Well, as far as the retirement rate decrease, for McBain, it's about $365,000 that the district saves, depending on what they use for pupil count and everything. But not getting the foundation,
Right.
we had budgeted $270,000 approximately increase for that.
Okay.
So that offsets, a big part of that. And then with the 31AA funds, from what we had budgeted per pupil, that's almost $215,000 hit there as well.
So the reduction in the retirement rate should definitely cover, or at least help toward the loss of the foundation.
Right, for this year.
Yeah, for this year.
Unless they pass that because this is just like, the way that they did it, it's just a
So that'd be like a
one-year-
supplemental
1 year.
spending bill then or something, or?
Something like that, I'm not sure exactly what it was another, I can't remember, Senate bill, House bill, whichever, but it was going to make that decrease in our retirement rate over some years.
Yeah.
And so if the decrease this year may not have been as big as it was, but they were trying to do it like over a 4 or 5 year period, which in the long run would have been much more.
Yeah.
And that's what, the schools were hoping for, and I think all the organizations were hoping for, is something that would be more of a long-term. The way they did it, it just is like a one year kind of a fix, but the 31AA, that kind of came out of nowhere, and then they said, well, we're gonna give you all this retirement money so you can pay for your mental health and safety with that. Okay, but then you didn't give us a foundation increase. And, yeah.
There's
so-
some crazy things going on at the last minute.
Yeah, I mean, to have like all the organizations like be totally thrown off guard by it is very,
yeah.
very unusual. I mean,
Nobody knew a thing.
no, because
I can get
those
it.
It was
people
a
are
very-
in tune with what's going on.
It was a very rare consortium that came together. I mean, the unions, the MESB, every organization under the sun
And none of
agreed on something.
Yeah,
And then-
and none of those organizations got wind that this was gonna do,
No.
like Scott said, a total 180. And, yeah, so it's just, I don't know, it just threw.
They issued some communication, I don't know if you, they issued some communication at the last minute, which did not go over well.
No,
And I don't know if it was retaliation or what, I don't know.
I don't know.
It was kind of an unfortunate
So,
letter that went out, but it went out and,
Yeah.
From MASB.
from that consortium, from everybody.
Hopefully, like Scott said, it'll right itself, some, and, I think one of the things that's so discouraging too is that there's so many schools that are coming off that funding cliff.
Yeah.
And depending on how they handle that, budgeted that money and what they
Yeah.
did with it, they just know that there's so many schools that are, maybe they shouldn't be in that position, but they are.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
I think McBain, you guys, did the right things with the funds, but they know that is hanging out there over everybody. And then
Yeah.
here's one more day. So, but,
The last thing that I wanted to add is the policy update tonight is Title IX. Just so that you guys are aware, we do have a resolution on the agenda to do it in one reading. I don't know if that's necessarily needed
It was
because,
a good move, though, I thought.
okay, because typically, we started doing 2 readings this last fall when I looked back into it, which gave the board more time to look at the policies and time to read them because as you guys know, sometimes there's quite a few pages there. But we do have the resolution in there for that. There is nothing in the policy that we have to have 2 readings. It's just been our practice since this past fall. That's all I have.
Is there any, can I just ask a little bit about the Neola, you had an issue about Neola. That's been a discussion at MASB recently with various schools in the state. I'd like to be able to just collect some input from different districts on that. Somewhere, it's been a pretty active discussion. Evidently there's some disenchantment going on, and so I'd like to be able to gather some more information from other districts, why they're looking at it. And is there a specific issue that we are looking at it, or?
No, I would say nothing specific. So what Ken is talking about is have a meeting coming up with Troon to hear about their policies and what their policies, Troon started writing their policies 4 or 5 years ago, something along about that time period. And we have had several schools in our area switch to Troon. For me, the biggest selling point for me with Troon is, there are attorneys that would defend our policies, and if they're writing them, they would know them, right? They also will give student handbooks, employee handbooks, all that's aligned right with our policies. Well, right now we're doing all of that stuff ourselves. They don't have as many policies. It's not so cumbersome. It's more user-friendly. I know the ISD has gone to Troon. Lake City has gone to Troon. Pine River has gone to Troon. Manton is joining me in the meeting for Troon. So we're just gathering information and seeing what's available. Neola was kind of the only option up until 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So. And sometimes I don't like to be the guinea pig. Sometimes I just see other schools try it out first and
I
see
think
how
there's
it works
several
for
more
them.
are trying it across the
Yeah.
state.
Most of our meetings and policy meetings, as far as legal updates, are all through Troon, through Neola. So, some of it's convenience too. Just Troon sent out for training dates for their policies for the Title IX training that we have to go through. Neola, we got 1 date, and we asked for additional dates, and they're not available at this time. Well, it's hard when it's in the middle of summer and you need so many certain people trained in this and stuff. So that's why I'm looking at it again.
Okay, any more questions for Scott? Business manager, Liz?
Okay, I will not take up as much time tonight as I did at the last meeting. Let's see, this time of year, audit time of year, so we're gearing up and getting ready for the auditors. They will come on July 22nd for McBain and be there probably most of the week. So we're finishing up our, year-end entries that we have to make and some of the reports and spreadsheets and et cetera that we have to get ready for them, and just all the things. They send us lists upon lists upon lists, and then gathering the information together so we know which federal projects they will do for the single audit. This may be the last year for a while that McBain might have a single audit, because they are increasing the threshold next year to $1 million from $750,000, and with the COVID money's going away. So we're working on that. We've been in contact with the auditors. I'm sure they'll reach out to whoever it is that they reach out to talk to while they're here. And then next month, I plan to give you an update on the preschool, kind of where we ended up, this year as far as revenues and expenditures, and in the library as well. And then in October, once we're completely done with the COVID funds, I'll give you like one last report, like I had given you before, with this is what everything we spent it on, and so that everybody will have that for, their records and information. And yeah, so as far as that goes, that'll look a little different this year, and maybe a little less pressure as far as all that federal reporting. So, but I'm sure that they are not done we haven't been, they haven't reached out for a lot of information yet on the ESSER 3 funds because we're all still spending them, but I'm sure at some point we will get selected for some type of audit on those funds, so. Yeah, but other than that, it sounds simple, but audit time is very busy.
All right, any questions for our business manager?
Do you see anything that, this is an unfair question, but is there anything hanging out there that could, I looked at the revised budget from last month, that would skew that number? I mean, is that, I realize there's adjustments, from the audit and stuff, but for a large part, they kind of balance out, I think, over the years.
As far as the budget?
Well, as far as the
you mean, or-
revised budget for this year, 23,
Oh,
24,
right.
that's, anything in the works that might skew that number a lot that you're aware of, or?
Not-
Excuse me.
So
I
it's,
mean, nothing major.
Pretty solid,
but, Yeah, I mean, some of the things will come in, technology, maintenance, those areas, because they're still spending
Sure.
and have projects going. I mean, I kind of have to, guesstimate in there of what. So that may be a little under, a little over.
yeah,
Um,
nothing major though.
Nothing major.
That's a nice turnaround.
Nothing major. Yeah. I wish the 24-25 budget was going to be like that. As soon as we adopted it, I said, maybe everybody should have board meetings on June 30th, about 11 o'clock at night. See if the state has a budget and then everybody adopts.
Yeah, really.
That was one of the things that I read too, is at that point, everyone had already adopted their budgets. Don't rush it, just wait.
Yeah.
And just,
Right.
I think we were interviewing with Ricardo shortly after the new budget.
Yeah.
We just got the numbers, yeah.
All right, thanks, Liz. Principals are off this month, so we're gonna go to committee reports. Building and Grounds Committee met here last week. We're probably gonna talk about our handicap ramp, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Other than that, I think that was the only committee meeting we had. MASB update, Ken, you got anything?
There's not really a lot of the last few meetings we've had have been all geared around this retirement credit thing that's been dominant on the agenda. There's still some minor things going on as far as some regarding e-cigarettes, dyslexia training, several bills about student health and cardiac issues, and there's some updates in health curriculum, computer curriculum, but nothing really major. They've really been wound up in this funding thing, so not a lot. Little stirring about some maybe some pending legislation about graduation regalia, I would say. That's kind of a hot topic right now. What's allowed, what isn't allowed. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes out.
Yep.
But we have our end of this month, 2 more weeks. We have our annual meeting in Flint. I'll be going off this committee. At that point, I'll be reassigned to another committee. So other than that, really not a lot earth-shattering going on.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Moving on to discussion items, 31AA, mental health.
As you said, that's been axed this next budget, but we are using this for school security and
Yeah.
mental health for students and staff, so. Can we take that off the agenda now? That's the only one, though, right? We
Even though
whittled it
it's
down.
$17 a student now.
Yeah, we
so-
whittled it down.
The next one is consent agenda. Scott, you want to explain this?
Yeah, so this was something I had put out in an update and thought it was a good idea to discuss about before we did it. This is an option that some school districts do where they can put a lot of their motions, like our action items tonight into, and I'm not saying we do it tonight, I think it's just gathering opinions for the future. We can put everything under a consent agenda where under one motion, all of those items are approved. Similar to what we do with our minutes. Because I have seen some school districts that approve your open session minutes separately, your closed session minutes separately, special board workshop or special minutes separately. So we kind of do something similar to that. Just thought it was a good idea to bring that up and just to kind of gather some opinions on that. Like I said, I'm not saying tonight because we have the agenda set, but
I think consent agendas have a place. Not so sure it's here, but larger organizations that have very, very lengthy agendas, there certainly is a place for it. We certainly don't have that, The things that I've typically seen under consent agendas are minute approval, financial approval, bills approval, that kind of stuff. I don't know that we are at that point we don't have a lot of long drawn out agendas. The other thing is, if somebody had a question, let's say on an invoice or on the minutes or something like that, that item would have to be taken off the consent agenda before they voted on it. Well, then you go back and then you have to revisit that item as a separate item. So once it's taken off the consent agenda, it goes back on the regular agenda. So if we're looking at saving time, that's probably not going to happen. Just one question, and I don't believe, I think just one person can take it off the consent agenda, right, Liz? I don't think that's a motionable item.
I believe so, yes.
I think if somebody had one question, it
Right.
would automatically come off the consent agenda. So then you'd have to deal with it. Then you'd have to deal with it separately with a motion approval and voting, and I see more potential that it could drag out the meeting than save time. And if we had a lot, like I said, if we had a lot of lengthy issues, I can see it. I just don't think we have those. That's my opinion.
I agree, Ken. I mean, tonight, yeah, we got all the way up to O, but that's not normal.
No.
I mean, I like to do them individually.
Well, I'm glad I didn't do it on this agenda.
I just, consent agendas, I think, have a place, but I just don't know that.
Sure.
That's my opinion.
That's why we wanted to discuss it.
Okay.
We'll keep going like we've been going.
I would agree with that as well. I mean, I don't think we're not burning the midnight oil here.
No,
Every
I mean-
week or every month, so I don't.
I'm on the same page.
Okay. All right. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing, from what I'm hearing.
I agree.
All right, discussion item C. The old handicap. So,
Started out, so as you guys know, the handicap ramp to the athletic complex, the track and the football field has been a challenge for engineers, for us, for the contractors, for everything. The last bid that we had received, the original bid was $52,000. Now with all the changes in to the ramp itself, it's up to $125,000. And I still don't know if that's the best plan.
It's not gonna be the best looking plan as far as aesthetics.
Have we seen any pictures of these?
We just have the drawings.
Engineering drawings, but there would basically be a 10 or 12 foot concrete wall alongside the current walkway.
Along the current walkway going up to the complex?
Yes.
And then it would stagger?
yes, zigzag.
But it zigzag east
Or
and west.
zigzags?
So it comes back east and west and goes there. And I don't know, 10 to 12 foot, but it's gonna be a It's gonna be a pretty big,
It's just gonna be,
big ball with a railing on it.
in my opinion, it's gonna be an eyesore.
We all agree as a committee, I think, I'll speak for the committee, that we need to do this. We just don't know if we have the right plan right now to do this. We've tried a different approach to it, coming from the baseball field area. That grade was not good either. I met with another engineer today, shortly before the board meeting, just to kind of get a different take on it. And he had a different idea that no one had thought of yet. So we were gonna look at that, so that's kind of where,
So this would be on the south side of the walkway
north side.
North side.
toward the concession stand then?
Yes.
Oh,
There's not a lot of room there
no, I
to
wouldn't.
begin with.
Why is it over there?
With the grade that we have, that's kind of what we have to work with just the layout of everything.
We tried going on the other side of it, but that
That's
wasn't gonna lay out either.
that's even higher.
Yep.
I like the idea of keeping it in the main entry area. I don't like the idea of putting it in the back corner somewhere. I like the idea of having it where everybody else is coming in, you know?
Yep.
I don't know.
I think with the gentleman that I met with today, he thought also that it would come from kind of the baseball field area, but bringing, obviously has not looked at any topo stuff, just looking at it, right?
Eyeballing it.
Yeah, I think you coming across the whole way would be a better approach than what we were originally trying to do on the other side of the concession stand. Just what we have, I think the current plan right now,
Just to put it on hold.
I think we're gonna have a better plan if we put a pause on it and come up with, take our time with it rather than, let's do it. I mean, I thought we had a good plan, we changed it, thought we had a good plan, changed it back to the original plan. And to me, right now, it just feels rushed.
So do we not have, then we won't have handicap accessibility for fall?
Probably not.
So I have another question.
Mhm.
Have there been any, like, maybe I missed it, have we seen any diagrams of any of this or any?
I believe I shared it with the
Okay.
originally, back when the
Okay.
first drawings that were,
Okay.
Drawing.
we're back to the original drawing of what we had
Can you
originally.
share some of
Yeah,
the things with us again?
Yeah, I don't
please?
think I've seen that.
Yeah.
And you can look at it, but to look at the engineering drawings, it's.
Well, Scott
you gotta
does that
kind
for
of-
a living,
So
so.
he can kind of,
Yeah, he does that for a living, so I would probably have him
No, absolutely.
glance
Why
at
is
it.
that look at it?
Yeah,
And it-
because he wondered that when we first started this, like how that was all going to play out. I know he asked me and I was like, that's not really.
So the original drawing showing it just going straight up, was that the original?
No, the grade is too,
Grade's too steep, that's why we gotta do something different.
Right, but what was in the original
the original was
layout?
what we originally,
What we,
Which original?
which, so
Switchback.
during
I need a visual up there.
So
I'm
during-
like,
it's a switchback, you're gonna go up so many feet, and then go
Right.
up, and then go back up.
But what I'm trying to ask is, you said it was in the original plan for $50,000. What was that layout, is what I'm asking?
so that layout was the switchback of what we currently have.
Okay.
But it didn't have the details of underground, right, of the footings, of the rebar, of
Yes.
all of that. And there's still just a lot of unknowns that the contractor's concerned about doing. And talking with the contractor, he too has concerns with this plan of, his recommendation would be to pause on it too and see what else you can come up with.
Are you allowed to open something to the public like that without accessibility?
We can.
Okay.
We did talk as a committee about purchasing a golf cart, one that we could help people, won't help all people,
Correct.
right? I went and looked this weekend at golf carts to see what was available
Okay.
out there that we could help provide handicap access, or not even handicap, but just people that are struggling
Yeah.
to get up and down the ramp,
A golf cart wouldn't help a person in a wheelchair.
right?
I mean,
Like I said, it would help some.
it would help some.
Right, and this is a problem we've had for a while.
Yeah, the same,
Yeah.
right, the
It's not a
same.
new problem,
No.
but there's gotta be a better fix than pushing along something. Because it would be nice to incorporate, like Scott said, if they're gonna come in by the baseball field, if you're watching a baseball game, you gotta climb the hill to use the restroom. So it would be nice if we could combine something that worked for all of it.
Yeah, and I've heard that people in wheelchairs have a difficult time getting to our baseball field too, with the incline that they have on that, unless there's someone there to help them. I think that we all know that it's something that we need to fix. I just don't think we have the answer right
Yeah.
now to,
I don't,
the
yeah,
correct one, the correct answer to fix it. But I'm sorry if I did not share
You
anything.
might know,
recently.
I'm a visual person, so
Yeah.
any visual
I'll
would be
email
great.
it to you tonight or early in the morning.
Sounds great.
So.
Any more questions or comments on our ramp situation?
I think it's easy, because fixable, it's just we gotta get the right deal going. And
Right.
neither one of
Yep.
these things that we have right now feel right to any of us.
No, they don't.
They don't, because we really don't know. I mean, we get into that, and all of a sudden, the water supply for the concession stand is right there too. And
Yeah.
sewage, drain away from there. I mean, we get into it, and all of a sudden, here we are with changing that too. That's, I mean,
And the good news is it's a standalone project.
yeah.
I mean, it's not, we can still finish the track, we can still, you know, we'll probably end up purchasing a golf cart to help with that, because it can help with other things too.
Okay.
But yeah, Ken, when we talked about the opposite side of the field too, and that wasn't a good fix either.
You're,
especially for anybody that's not from here, trying to find it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just for accessibility, like you said, it's complete strangers, they'd have no idea where to
Round
find
trip,
that.
where they're gonna go.
I really like the idea of keeping it in the main entry area if we can, but,
You know, and I was going through all the football fields that I've been at, and those that have hills, you walk in on top of the hill, and the field is in the bowl. The field's at the bottom of the hill. Ours is reversed than that. I did hear today that Petoskey has something similar to that we might take a road trip up to see what that looks like. So,
is there anything such as an outdoor lift? I mean, I don't know.
yeah, there is. And from what I've heard is that creates even more problems, especially with Michigan winters.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just headaches, and
Yeah.
the rough estimate that I was told on that, you know, would probably be 6 figures for that as well, so.
Okay.
We just wanna make sure that we're doing something that's gonna be right for a long time.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna have the path around, where people can access, and we're gonna have
Right.
that, so. It's just fixing that
So
grade.
so the path around, like when I was thinking about, you go up the ramp, I got that's too steep, and you would go around towards the south side. You'd go around to the visitors area.
Right,
So then, if it was on the baseball field side, it would just be the opposite effect, that you'd go around that direction?
no, you would still go around to the south, around the field,
But you enter all the way over there?
potentially.
Because you really wouldn't be able to, going from that side, there's a big wall along the track there, it wouldn't really be accessible.
Because there's a part of the track that you can't really even walk around with that
Yeah,
steep grade.
because there's like a retaining wall around the corner of the track.
Okay.
Just have a longer distance to gain the elevation.
right.
It's tight.
Sounds like it's in good hands.
Got a good committee. But yeah, so just wanted to update everyone on that, and unfortunately, we don't have an answer for that solution.
We don't have the right answer yet, no. Not in our minds.
Somebody's gonna give us an idea once, and we're all gonna wonder why we didn't think of it.
It was right there all the time.
With my design aspects, I'll call Scott tomorrow with that.
That'd be great.
All right.
Doesn't hurt.
I want to look at it though.
All right, let's move on to our action items. Motion or
Action item A, the motion to approve administrative assistant contracts for the 2024-2025 school year. Boobie, Bronkema, Short, Kennedy, McQuestion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion support for administrative assistant contracts. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to approve building principal contracts, including addendum for additional responsibilities for the 2024-2025 school year. Rodenbaugh, Finstrom, Wisner.
Make a motion.
Support.
Motion support for building principals. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And on the back side. C. I will be abstaining from this one. Motion to approve department director contracts. Mulder, Diane Isinger, Tammy Isinger, Scott Dunham, Scott Davidson. Daryl Davidson, my bad.
Motion.
Support.
Motion support for department director contracts. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? D, motion to approve food service contracts for the 24-25 school year. Courtney Agama, Abby Murray, Julie Kitson, and Michelle Nielsen.
So moved.
Support.
Motion support for food service contracts. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. E, motion to approve tech deck department contracts, 24-25. Rodenbaugh, Maley, Engelwright, and Jenna.
I'll abstain from this.
Okay.
So moved.
Supported.
Motion support for tech deck. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. F, motion to approve school safety officer contract, 24-25, Mr. Fudge.
Motion.
Support.
Motion support for our school safety officer. Any questions?
So the stipend, it says to offset training, so he pays for all of his training on his own right now?
We pay for some of the conferences that he goes to, but it's also for, he takes a lot of our youth to hunting and fishing, stuff that he pays for himself. So it would go towards that. If you go into his office now, he's got fishing poles hung up everywhere that he uses for that, building relationships with kids. But as far as buying his own equipment and stuff like that.
Well earned.
Yes, absolutely. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? G, motion to approve school success worker contracts for 24-25, Zeiderbean and Schmidt.
Motion.
Support.
Motion support for our social workers, or our success workers, excuse me. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, H, motion to approve Dean of Students contract for 24-25, Hudinga.
Motion.
Support.
Motion support for our Dean of Students. Questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. I, motion to approve English language learner contract, Maria Bivens.
So moved.
Support.
Motion support for our ELL contract. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. J, hire recommendation for Marnie Quist, elementary success worker.
Motion.
Support.
Motion support for Marnie. Questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Hire recommendation of Trevor, is it Zone or Zahn?
Zonfeld, I believe.
Zonefeld, middle school math.
Motion.
Supported.
Motion support for Trevor. Any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? L, hire recommendation for Brian Purcell, part-time high school English language arts.
Motion.
Support.
Motion support for Mr. Purcell for part-time. Questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. M, our favorite one. Approved board workshop meeting for August 5, 2024 at 6 p.m. for superintendent evaluation training.
Supported. Or
Motion. Support. Why did I think it was 5:30? Am I losing my
I
mind?
think it is 5:30.
Okay, I was like,
I think it
isn't
was
it
too.
5:30?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is 5:30.
5:30, okay. So
I thought it was, I'm like,
Nope,
I
sorry
thought you
for the
said
typo.
5:30.
Nope, sorry for the typo there.
That's
No,
all
it is.
right.
it has 5:30.
Is that here in this room?
Yes.
Yes.
5:30 in this room.
8:30? Did I see?
Yeah,
Yes.
3 hours.
Scott's grilling steaks.
Scott's beating us pizza.
We're gonna, yes, we will. You guys like gas station tuna fish sandwiches?
No, thank you. I'll share my crackers.
And a bag of cheese.
Got some big
Yes.
salad in my fridge.
So anyway, we have a motion and support for our board workshop, August 5 at 5:30 p.m. for our student evaluation training. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Approve resolution for one hearing of Neola policies.
So moved.
Support. Motion support for our one hearing of Neola policies. Anybody have any questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. O, approve Neola policy 2264.
Motion.
We have a motion, we have support.
Support.
We have motion support for Neola policy 2264. Would you maybe explain this just a little bit further, what this might be talking about?
Yep, so this is regarding Title IX. It's the new guidance from the federal government. It was supposed to come out quite a while ago. They kept suspending it, and now it needs to be adopted by August 1st for our guidelines. It's basically updating what we're already doing and changing a few things, timelines, documentation. This involves sexual harassment, sexual assault, claims of that we need to investigate, that the school district investigates, and our protocols for that. It could get put on a stay again with court involvement, but we won't know that probably until the last hour. If it's put on stay, we will not adopt it or implement it. If we have any claims right now, up until July 31st, we go back to the former policy and follow that through. So we have training for our administrators, that will be the investigators and the coordinator on July 24th coming up. So we'll be trained before August 1st.
So Scott, there was another one that came with it, a 2260.
That was the previous one.
Oh, this is the
Yeah.
previous one?
2266 was the previous one, 2264 is the correct one.
Oh, I see, okay.
It was a bit confusing on how they sent it out, and I screwed that up, so
Okay.
that was my fault. 2264 is the...
Is the final one,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Okay, we have motion support for Neola policy 2264. Any more questions? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? All right. Moving on to next is public comment. No, still none? Okay.
Still none.
All right, he's quiet. Board round table. Anything maybe you want to bring up or talk about?
Pass on that the flowers look really good out front, Scott.
Yeah,
They do,
Yeah,
good.
they do.
Next year we gotta get yellow and white,
Yellow and white?
closer to school colors.
Sure. I tell you, with that curve, I think it looks a lot cleaner too.
Oh, for
It
sure.
does, it looks good.
For sure.
Thank you, I'll pass that along to Darla.
It's nice.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay. Motion support for adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.